All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. It's been a couple days. I can honestly say I haven't made the walk, but I have continued to work out. Been on my workout journey here, Get Fit journey. I do have a membership to the local club, and so I've been down there doing the boxing lessons as well as trying to go through the testing for they offer free testing for obtaining a personal trainer. Basically, what they do is get you introduced to a trainer, and they pretty much tell you how out of shape you are. And then they offer you the personal training packages, right? They pretty much tell you why you need a personal trainer. It was pretty cool going through the test. I was wondering where I would be at. Obviously, going to be turning 40 years old soon. So, a little older. I guess that's no reason to be totally out of shape. But surprisingly, and I don't know, I'm just going to take them at their word. They're the experts. Surprisingly, I checked in at 19% body fat, which I thought I'd be like at 25%. So I was like, all right, well, I guess that's not that bad. They showed me the scale right in the normal range. I remember back when I was playing football at the University of San Diego, I measured in at 13%. That's back when I was moving a lot, lifting a lot, and a lot of activity every day. And obviously, much younger. So, maybe I should look back fondly on those days being 13%. I think, anything, once you start getting toward 10 to 12%, definitely 10 and in the single digits. You're in the single digits of body fat for men anyway. And you're getting into that professional athlete, professional bodybuilder range. So you are amongst the elite when you can get around 10%. It's always going to be a little bit more for women. They're going to naturally carry a little bit more body fat. But when you get around that range, you're getting elite. Some people really chase it, trying to get down to those low single digits. I think it's okay for a moment, right? I don't think you're supposed to walk around with those low levels of body fat for a long time. But for those who are competing, they'll do it. They'll do it for a show. So that wasn't too bad. It's cool to be at 19%. It's like, well, maybe I'm not that far away. So we put together a plan, workout plan, diet plan. I'll keep you guys posted in the future. See how well I'm doing. Okay. So since I haven't made a walk in a couple of days, I really wasn't thinking about what should I be talking about on these walks. always, I always vacillate between just talking about myself and obviously the business, but do I want to report on these current events and things that we should be paying attention to, especially as entrepreneurs, and doubly, especially if you want to get into e-commerce. Problem is, when I when I go over the stories, I have to read at least a little bit and research just so I can speak about the specifics and then really think about where we land as entrepreneurs, as investors, as e-com entrepreneurs and online sellers. So sometimes that can take me some time. And time is not what I have a lot of. But it's good because it forces me to think about it and think about where I want my content to go and what I want it to be like. Ultimately, as I said before, if you're a solopreneur, you are your market. And that's really the vein that I'm trying to take. I am my market. And so without having to come up with these highly produced pieces of content, I really just want to present myself and, again, document the process. As Gary Vee says, document the process on social media so that you get to know me, get to know my business. And I believe that my audience will come slowly but sure as I keep putting the message out. Which reminds me of an awesome lesson taught by Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek. And in his many talks about starting with why, one of the illustrations he gave was, you have to imagine yourself like in this large group of people. And as you speak, you are trying to gain an audience out of this large group of people. But you recognize that not everybody in the general population is your audience. He says, pretend that you have a red hat and all of your audience are people that have a red hat or that are interested in red hats. Your job is to stand up, make yourself seen, and say, I have a red hat. I have a red hat. I have a red hat. And slowly, over time, you build an audience of people who love red hats, who love talking about red hats, who love wearing red hats. And that is your audience. Whether you're a speaker, entrepreneur, business person, that's how you find what some people say, find your tribe. That's all you have to do. Now, it's easier said than done because we want everything so fast. We want everything right away. And you may have to stand up and say that you have a red hat for a long time before you ever hit the stage, before anyone ever buys your book, before anyone ever buys your product, before anyone ever buys your service. You have to continue to let people know that, hey, I'm here. This is what I do. Hey, I'm here. I have this t-shirt for you. Hey, I'm here. I have this book for you. And although it feels useless in the beginning, eventually the time and effort that you put in will start to draw an audience, start to draw customers, start to draw readers, and all of the things that you are looking for that lead to success. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm out here telling you guys I have a red hat. And that red hat revolves around the solopreneur, those that are doing it by themselves, and e-commerce. That's what I'm out here talking about. The solopreneur and those people who want to sell products online. So, I have a red hat. I have a business for you. I have some information for you. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, you're doing it yourself, you're trying to get started, I can show you how to get started. I know how to set up a website. I know how to set up your funnel. I know how to set up your CRM. If you don't know what a CRM is, you should search and see what CRMs are out there. I know how to manage your leads, manage your contacts. I know how to follow up automatically with those contacts. All of the things that a solopreneur needs. I've been through it. I have the scars. I've spent money, wasted money. And so you should connect with me so that you don't have to waste any money. You can probably avoid taking some of the L's I took because we're willing to reach out to me. Okay? So, you never know where you're going to go on these walks. I didn't plan for that, but that is for someone else. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur, you're trying to get started, you got an idea. You just have an idea and you want to talk about it. You want to talk about how you can get started, how you can somehow test the market to see if there's a group of people out there who want your red hat. Go ahead and put help in the comments. Put help in the comments and set up a quick consultation. I can show you exactly how you can get started. Okay. So, as I was leaving, I was thinking, well, what am I going to talk today? And I think I want to talk about imposter syndrome, which I believe is big with entrepreneurs. I want to talk about imposter syndrome. Some of you may know what imposter syndrome is. But if you don't, Imposter syndrome is really, I guess, a disorder, they would say, where people who are often high achieving can develop depression and anxiety because they feel like they're an imposter. They feel like they don't deserve the achievements they got. They feel like they're not special, and that one day they have fear that they will lose it all and everyone will find out that they are a fraud. They often feel, people with imposter syndrome often feel like they are undeserving of benefits that have come from their achievements. And this is big with people who are high achieving. And as such, obviously a lot of entrepreneurs will naturally be high achieving because we believe, we have the audacity to believe that we can create a business, that we can create something from scratch, that we can build the systems that are necessary to maintain a healthy and thriving business. People with that sort of belief in themselves, with that sort of ambition, will often have achievements in various areas of their life. And as a result, because again, it has to do with how they look at themselves. They don't look at themselves as special. And so, again, they can feel undeserving of the benefits that come from their achievements. They don't know how they did it. Well, they know how they did it, but as they look back, they feel like they should be there, and that what would happen if they lose it all. Now, I'm no professional, no behavioral specialist, but these are my thoughts. Please, as I say, seek help if you feel like you're having a problem. Don't just listen to me on the internet. Now, I do believe I struggle with a little bit of imposter syndrome. And for me, largely, it extends from feeling like I'm not special. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. At least I like to think of myself as just like everyone else. And so that view of myself often makes me feel like, yeah, like I got lucky. And there's all of us are going to have a certain amount of luck, right? Some of the things that you receive in this life, you had nothing to do with. They were just given to you, right? Don't choose your parents. You don't choose your family. And that is a large portion of everyone's success. Either your family can be a big support to you. You see that view behind me? It's a good morning. It's a good morning to be out here. Came out here a little later. Either your family can be a big support to you, which can spur you forward, or sometimes people have a supporting family, and they take it for granted. Like the family is always there for them, and then they take it for granted. They don't use that family good network that they have, that privilege, to further them forward. And so they can fall behind. Some people have a dysfunctional family, and they can be born into a state of dysfunction. That dysfunction can hold them back many times, or many people have used the dysfunction that they were born into to as a motivation to be spurred forward, not to live like that any longer. So much of what we have and who we are was not chosen by us. It was given to us. And we just have to make the most of it. And so I had a very good family, a very good extended family, although my nuclear family, my mom and my dad, was dysfunctional to say the least. And so I grew up mostly with my mom, but I was lucky enough to have a very good extended family. And so I believe a lot of that saved me from the average statistics of growing up in a single parent home. So as I grew up, I went on to become valedictorian of my high school, went to the University of San Diego, and stumbled my way through and got an electrical engineering degree. That really set me off to find a job in engineering and set me off on a high-paying salary trajectory. All of that, all of those are achievements. I eventually got married and now have 2 daughters. I recognize that it is an awesome life that I live, but I can't help, again, because I feel like I am not special, that there are plenty of people out there like me. I can't help but feeling like an imposter. I definitely have a fear that I am going to one day lose it all, that I am going to one day mess up, make a big mistake that can really affect me and my family, and that everyone would see that, I don't know, not that I'm not perfect. I hope everybody understands that I'm not perfect. I think they do. If you know me for any amount of time, you know that I'm not perfect. But for some reason, those of us who have this imposter syndrome, we care what other people think, and we're afraid of losing all that we have achieved because we feel like we weren't special to be, to receive the benefits of our achievements. Now, what can this do to you? It can cause serious anxiety and depression for you. Some people get depressed over it. And it can make it hard for people to sympathize with you, especially if you're a high achieving individual and you are reaping the benefits. You have all these benefits of your achievements around you, but yet feel like an imposter. You feel like you don't deserve it. It can make you sad. It can make you depressed. It can lead to destructive behavior sometimes. So what do? I don't know. I'm not a clinically trained therapist or counselor. But I guess the question is not what do you do? The question is, what do I do? One, I try to be grateful. Try to be thankful for all that I have. And try to be humble. I recognize that it is a blessed life that I live, but I just want to be humble. As the Bible says, live a quiet life. That's all I want to do. And so I want to be humble, and I want to be grateful for what I have. What else do I do? Number 2, have to come to the recognition that I did it. That I believe in work and reward, and that those who do the work, regardless of how special, how intelligent, how good they are at anything, regardless of whatever we might feel is going on inside ourselves or inside another person, if that person did the work, then they will reap the benefit. They will receive the reward. And so I have to apply that to myself. I don't feel special. I think that many people can do what I did and receive similar benefits. And so I have to recognize that I did it. whether or not, whether or not I feel like I'm smart or intelligent or special to be in that position. Cause like I said, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. I feel oftentimes, most times I feel inadequate. It's that feeling of inadequacy that for me pushes me forward, always trying to prove something. Not prove it to others, but prove it to myself. And it's kind of a vicious cycle because, you accomplish something to prove to yourself that you can do it. You reap the benefits of it. And then start to doubt yourself that you can maintain it, that you deserve it, that it's something that you deserve. And so that's the cycle I feel myself going through oftentimes. I'll try to accomplish something. Make no mistake about it. I have failed. And maybe that's the next video for more. The entrepreneurial efforts, pursuits that I have failed at. Because really the e-commerce thing is finally the one that is showing some fruit of success, showing some level of turn, showing some promise that it can be something long-term stable. So yeah, next video will be me explaining how I have failed in entrepreneurial. But yeah, there I go through the cycle where I try things, I try to prove it to myself. I really have a problem where I see other people accomplish something and I think to myself, why did they do that? What is it about them that has allowed them to do that? What is it about me where I haven't been able to accomplish the things I want to accomplish? And so here I go. I always tell myself, there's nothing different. There's nothing different about them. Again, because I look at myself as not different. And so I have a sense to, oftentimes I have a habit of projecting that to others as well. I just think we're all the same for the most part. I mean, that's what average means. You, if you're ever trying to guess whether or not a person is average, just guess average. That's your best chance of being right. So, and being in engineering, I can tell you, a lot of people in there of average. I don't know. To me, there's a lot of people in there of average intelligence, right? I love the mystique we have. We're viewed as a very intelligent bunch, and I'm not delusional. I recognize we're a very intelligent bunch. However, if you meet us and talk to us, and you know a bunch of engineers, then you know we're not that far off average. So I have a tendency to project that to others. Then I think, well, why am I unable to accomplish things? And so it's oftentimes it sets me out on a course to try to accomplish it. And a lot of times I do accomplish things. Then here comes the cycle, right? Here comes the cycle. Feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I'm just a guy who tried. Just a guy who tried to do it. And so with that comes a lot of different things. I have a hard time celebrating myself. You know, my 40th birthday is coming up. Have a hard time celebrating myself. You know, I want people to, you know, look at me with favor, but not too much, if that makes sense. I want people to look at me admirably, but not too much. Not too much to where it puts pressure on me to live up to some idea that they might have. Really, really the only approval that like I really, really, really desire is approval of my wife and kids. And I should say, you know, obviously I want to be approved by God, but I'm speaking here in human. And oftentimes that's the hardest approval to get because nobody knows you better than your family. For me, my wife and kids. So they know when I'm doing my best and they know when there's a little bit more that I can do. So I often struggle with that anxiety because I feel like I don't feel special. I just feel like a regular guy, but I feel like the blessings and benefits that I have received are beyond the level of a regular guy. And maybe they are. So that's why I want to be grateful for what I have and thankful for all the special things in my life. ultimately, I have to recognize that I did and accomplished a lot of stuff. Let's assume I am of average intelligence, average talent, and just a plain old average guy. It doesn't change the fact that I actually put my hands to the work and accomplished the work. If there are any benefits that come from doing that work, then naturally they should come to. And so, as I think about it, if you're having that imposter syndrome, let me encourage you to think about it in that way. Number one, be grateful, because so much of what we accomplish is due to things that are out of our control. Blessings that we have that we did not ask for and that we did not work. That's everybody. We are all born to a station in life. There are some pros and cons about that station that we had nothing to do with. Accept it. Number two, recognize, look in the mirror, look in the mirror and say, I did that. Especially if you really did it. Look in the mirror and say, I did that. I didn't ask anybody to do it for me. Maybe I had some help, so you want to be thankful to those people who helped you. But you did it. Look in the mirror and say, I did it. And so whatever comes from whatever you did, it's hard to say because we don't feel deserving. But you deserve it. You did it. You accomplished it. Okay? And so maybe you feel like a little bit of an imposter. Maybe you feel like you might lose it. And hey, I pray you don't lose it, but maybe one day you do lose it. It doesn't change the fact that you did it. And sometimes we're going to take L's, but we take losses oftentimes because we did something, not because we're imposters. It's because there's a certain level of knowledge that we didn't gain. There may be something in the process that we didn't do. There may be a step that we missed or a step that we skipped. And so naturally, life will let you know, like, hey, you skipped that step. But with the same effort and intensity that you achieved with, sometimes those achievements will reveal a new problem. Take that same effort, the same intensity, and you apply it to the new. Okay? So that's it. Be grateful and be honest with yourself. You did it. All right. Coming to the end of the walk. That was awesome. I didn't even think, a little bit worried about the content today. But as Keith Lee says, God is amazing. If you don't know, Keith Lee is, he's most known for being a food critic on social media. He's big, but he says God is amazing. And that is a true statement. God is amazing. So as I come to the end of the walk, what I originally thought about saying on the second half of my walk, but the talk about imposter syndrome was too good, was I wanted to talk a little bit about how to get started on the Walmart platform. Okay? And because I'm so close to the end, I'm going to leave you guys with a cliffhanger. We'll pick it up on the next talk. I'm going to talk about how to get started on the Walmart platform. I'm going to talk you through the application process. If you're thinking about applying, I'm going to talk you through the application process, give you some points, some tips that you can use to get started on the Walmart platform, which will help you get approved, because you have to get approved. It's much easier to get approved on the Amazon platform, selling on Amazon Marketplace, than it is on Walmart. Walmart, they learned a lot of lessons because they started in the game after Amazon. So they learned a lot of lessons from the Amazon process. And in their effort to avoid people overseas from just starting a bunch of stores, people using bots to start stores and just try to sell all manner of unproven product, damaged product, really trying to control the whole process. Walmart has learned from Amazon start, and so they have really instituted an approval process that is a lot more strenuous, and so it's hard to get approved. Okay, so I need you to stick around, hit the subscribe button. I usually don't even ask people to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and then on the next talk, I will break down some points, some tips. If you're thinking about applying to the Walmart platform, I'm gonna give you some tips, and then I'm gonna break down. If you get rejected, don't worry. Don't worry if you get rejected. There are some follow-up tips that work most times to get your account started with Walmart. Okay, so if you got a product you want to sell, or you just want to sell ho-hum everyday products, I think recently I looked at my store was selling vitamins, trash bags, trash cans. If you want to sell those kind of things, you can do that as well. Okay. All right. If you want some help in e-commerce, go ahead and write help in the comments, and I will follow up with you. We'll have a talk. I'll show you how I can help. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur, you're doing everything yourself, and you want to know what tools, what tips and tricks you need to be successful, go ahead and write help in the comments as well. And then I will get back to you. All right. You guys be blessed.